hearing that a convicted killer had been released from prison. Not because he was innocent, not because his sentence was over, but because authorities believed he could safely live outside prison walls under supervision. Now imagine that same man committing another murder. For many people in Switzerland, that nightmare became reality. In 2013, a 19-year-old woman disappeared after finishing work at a golf club. Within days, the country would be asking a chilling question. How did a convicted murderer get the chance to kill again? This is the tragic case of Marie Schluchter and the man who took her life, Claude Dubois. May 13th, 2013. It was supposed to be an ordinary spring evening. The golf club near Payerne was winding down for the day. Employees were finishing their shifts, customers were heading home, and nothing seemed out of place. Among the staff was 19-year-old Marie Schluchter. Young, hardworking, and known for her friendly personality, Marie was beginning her adult life. She had plans for the future, people who cared about her, and every reason to believe she would wake up the next morning and continue building that future. But she never made it home. Somewhere between work and safety, Marie vanished. When her family couldn't reach her, concern quickly turned into panic. This wasn't like her. She hadn't called. She hadn't sent a message. She had simply disappeared. And while her loved ones desperately searched for answers, Marie was already in the hands of a man who should never have had the opportunity to cross her path. While the investigators began tracking down the evidence, a profile of a then 36-year-old Claude Dubois came up. He wasn't just another suspect. He wasn't a first-time offender. He wasn't someone who had slipped under the radar. Authorities knew exactly who he was. You see? Years earlier, Dubois had been convicted of murdering a former girlfriend. It was a crime so serious that most people would assume he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. But Switzerland's justice system had a different approach. As part of his sentence, Dubois was eventually allowed to leave prison under a form of supervised release and electronic monitoring. The idea was rehabilitation, the belief that people could be managed safely while gradually returning to society. But some experts had concerns. And after what happened next, those concerns would seem hauntingly prophetic. As police investigated Marie's disappearance, evidence began pointing toward Dubois. The search intensified. Officers tracked movements, witnesses were interviewed. Every hour that passed increased the urgency. Then came a breakthrough. Police located Dubois and moved in. What followed was a tense effort to uncover the truth. Investigators already suspected the worst, but they still hoped they were wrong. Eventually, under questioning, Dubois revealed where Marie could be found. The location was a wooded area in the canton of Fribourg. When officers arrived, those hopes disappeared. Their worst fears had become reality. Marie was dead. The search was over. The nightmare was just beginning.
News of the murder spread quickly. But it wasn't only the brutality of the crime that shocked people. It was the identity of the killer. Many Swiss citizens couldn't understand how someone convicted of a previous murder had been given enough freedom to commit another. The public reaction was immediate: anger, disbelief, frustration. Families across the country asked the same question. If someone already killed once, why were they outside prison? Suddenly, the case became bigger than one criminal investigation. It became a national debate. Lawmakers, legal experts, and journalists all examined the decisions that had allowed Dubois to live outside prison. Some argued the system had failed catastrophically. Others defended the principles of rehabilitation. But regardless of where people stood, everyone agreed on one thing. A young woman had lost her life, and nothing could change that. When Dubois finally faced trial, prosecutors painted the picture of a dangerous repeat offender. Psychiatric evaluations described an individual who posed an extreme risk. The court listened to testimony, reviewed evidence, and ultimately reached a conclusion. Dubois would spend the rest of his life behind bars. For Marie's family, the verdict brought a measure of justice. But justice is not the same as closure. A sentence can punish a killer. It cannot restore a future that was stolen. One of the problems with true crime is that the offender often becomes the most remembered person in the story. Their name dominates headlines, their face appears in documentaries. Their actions become the focus. But that's not who should be remembered here. Marie Schluchter was more than a victim in a criminal case. She was a daughter, a friend, a young woman with hopes, plans, and years of life ahead of her. Those years were taken away in an act of senseless violence. As we end this story, it's worth remembering that behind every true crime headline is a real family whose lives changed forever. Our deepest sympathy goes to Marie's loved ones, who have carried this loss for more than a decade. And while the world may remember the crime, we should also remember the person whose life mattered far more than the man who took it. Thank you for watching.
At The Dark Times, we tell these stories so they're never forgotten. If you believe truth matters, stay with us, subscribe, and step with us into the dark so we can protect the light.